So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid that I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine. But I am here to stay. Won't look away. Storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control it. My bones, I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne. So you wanna be my enemy? You should've known I never kissed the rain. Ice runs in my veins, won't play it safe. I don't belong with your nobility. Who died and made you king of anything? You think that I'm insane? It's your mistake. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it. I've come to take it. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it all. Storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control it. My bones, I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it. Fuse like a magnet, lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. I send the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes. I take shots to the top, I'll get it. I got one life, I'ma do all to win it. I do gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
All right, guys, happy Monday. It is October 13th. Welcome to the show. We are going to talk about the meme stocks of the week. And if you'd like to come on the show and pitch yours, I'll give you 60 or 90 seconds if it's not one that we have on the list, or even if it is one that we have on the list. Come tell us what we're missing out on. The stock market today recovered from that little bit of crash that we had on Friday after market hours. So that was good to see. Futures are in the green. Asia overnight in the red. Gold today, 41.45. Silver, 51.36. Metals absolutely on fire. Bitcoin, 115, and Ethereum at 42.50. Rebleep says, what companies would make sense for GME to partner with, buy with their cash? I have not created my own list, Rebleep, of any particular companies that I would like GameStop to partner with, but here's kind of my framework that I've talked about with you guys. I would like it to be something adjacent to their area of competence, something adjacent to gaming, so that we don't have to go out and gaming or collectibles. Like even if they bought PSA, for example, something adjacent to what they are good at. And that's kind of what I'd like to see, but I also trust Ryan Cohen to find a compelling use of that cash on whatever timeline is good for him. I'm in a good position with my cost basis. There's no pressure, no rush, no crying, no whining. Take as long as you need, Ryan. Don't fuck it up by rushing into something. And I don't think he's going to. He hasn't shown any inclination to be rushing into anything. And I think that's perfectly fine. Dustin White says, hearing about the Rule 910 regarding GameStop warrants and compliance on delivery. I am not familiar with that rule, but let's see. I didn't even see anybody talking about it on social media today. Is this because of the Greg tweet about the I got a ticket for going 10 miles an hour in the 9 mile an hour zone? Other than that, other than that being a joke, I don't know what Rule 910 is. As far as I have been able to tell from the warrants, they are distributed and trading properly. I understand that some people on the GameStop warrants are not happy because of the way the broker is displaying the warrant, or maybe they didn't give you your warrants. It's maybe you got them in their position close only. I mean, these were all things that we talked about before the warrants even were distributed, and why I urged you guys to make sure, if possible, to make sure that you have your account in a major broker where you don't have to worry about all these nonsense things. And don't worry too much if they have it shown in fractions or decimals. I would bet if you call them, you probably have your warrants in a whole amount, matching your shares, 1 for 10. Tell me, Dustin, tell me a little more. Give me a 60, not 60 second. Give me a 1 sentence summary of what is this rule, where I can find it. Whose rule is it? And just bear in mind, there are some channels that are for entertainment. They post whatever, whenever, to drive engagement because it is a popular message of the day. You know, I was kind of ribbing some people over the weekend about this, the yen carry trade. You know, that was driving me nuts, man. My feed was full of people talking about the yen carry trade was going to blow up the markets on Monday. Well, yeah, here we are. Monday's came and gone, and no. In fact, you know, as I look in the data, the yen versus the dollar, that was like August 2024 news. We're not in any position right now where the yen carry trade is something that we need to be worrying about. Maybe if things deteriorated a little bit more, but this is not something that anybody should be focusing on as meaningful right now. Even with that little bit of decrease on the US dollar versus the yen on Friday, it was a nothing burger. John Y says, Tony, do you think we will trade sideways till Q3 results? What ticker, John? We're looking at, I'm assuming that you probably mean GameStop or AMC, but I don't know. But the answer is yes. Let me know which ticker and I'll pull a chart up. Key says BITF turned out to be a solid play. I've got a couple of tickers here for you guys to look at. I put them in the video title also, including QS, QuantumScape, up 15.5% today. Not too shabby. QUBT is another ticker. Quantum Computing up almost 13% today. And RGTI, Rigetti Computing, that one is up 25% on the day. There were a couple, you know, Plug and Power. We talked about that one last week. It was up 14% today again. That was one of my forgotten tickers from a couple years ago that has somehow come back to life. Hoorah! And Open Door, not doing so well, but it has been a meme stock for a bit here. A nice run from July, 50 cents up until mid-September, 1087. I believe I shared some info back then at the high about Jane Street coming on board, and be careful because they could be using retail as exit liquidity. And I'm starting to see people now posting, oh shit, you know, maybe we misread Jane Street. Maybe they're not the benevolent overlords coming in here because they're bullish on the play. Maybe they're just doing an end run on a popular stock. That would not surprise me, but Open Door down from 1087 to 727 today. Just basically getting painted red for the last month. Robert says, are the stocks you're showing now, were they runners? I'm only looking at them in the past week or month, Robert. Haven't even looked that far back. Although we can certainly do that if you want to pick one of them and look back. John says he was asking about GameStop. Is it going to trade sideways? I think, John, as I said in my weekend video, that we are headed back down now that we're through the buy the rumor. We're in the sell the news phase right now of the hype that, you know how retail does. Remember how they hyped it, the split back in 2022, that was gonna, the split is designed to to validate every share and to expose the synthetics and blah, 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 blah. And we had live streams and said that is all nonsense. I'm going to go find the live stream where we talked about that. I know for a fact that we talked about that because as it was peaking, I was selling my shares. Maybe it might have been a point where I talked to enough people on Wall Street that I said, this whole narrative that we think around this split is crazy. It's not going to go down the way people think. It's not a split dividend. It's just a forward split. And I know the messages are out there. I'm sure it's in my Discord. I'm pretty sure we talked about it in a live stream. Was I excited about it one day before I knew what I knew? Maybe so. But at some point, we recognized that it was not going to go down the way that people on social media were saying. And I used that opportunity then to take an exit. And I know for a fact that we talked about it ahead of the split. I need to go back and look at the live streams and figure out where that clip is if somebody needs proof. But same hype around that got foisted now upon everybody about this warrant thing. I mean, warrants aren't common, but the market knows how to handle warrants. And I just shared some basic info with you guys about what was likely to happen. Run up until October 3rd. Net sellers of warrants after they were distributed, likely some downward pressure, and you know, that's what we have. That's what we have. So we are headed, I think, back down, yes, John, into this trading range here, 21 to 24 bucks, and that's a perfectly okay place to be until the next quarterly earnings or the next announcement from GameStop. I still have my position. I did not sell when it hit 28. I would have been more interested in selling if it had got over 30, 33 up here in the supply zone, but it didn't get high enough for me to be really interested in selling. So 21.61 being my cost basis, I think that's fairly safe, and unless the entire market tanks, in which case, you know, everything's going to go down. And you either get out ahead of that because you're Nostradamus, or whatever you're holding, you ride it until the market corrects. So I don't think that GameStop is going to be the flight to safety. If the market crashes, it'll go down like everything else. That's okay. We can't escape market risk. You can hedge for it. You can be in cash. There are different things you could do, but if you're an equities holder and the market crashes, pretty much unless you're owning utilities or consumer safety goods like a Costco, you're probably going to get beat up a little bit. And yeah, we're gonna trade flat, John. Long-winded answer until we get some news from GameStop, and I'm all about being patient until Ryan does something with that money. Keith said QSI had a nice pop too. Was it a day for the Qs, Keith? Let's take a look at QSI. We had QuantumScape, quantum computing. Oh my gosh, and QSI as well. Up 24.5%. Well, let me add that to the list. This gives us some good stuff to dig into overnight and in pre-market tomorrow as we're planning any day trades or swing trades. 95 cents up to $2.08 since late August, early September. I want to add to my, no, here we go. Follow. All right. Dustin's likes NRGV. That is one that has been pumped for a while recently, right, Dustin? I have, oh, it's still going up. All right, well, I was not aware that it was still on the uptrend. And yeah, 12% on the day is, for those of you playing momentum tickers, still a nice run. 60 cents back in April, 60 cents back in late June, 379 right now. Not too shabby. What's the float on that thing? That's free float, 118 million share. Yeah, 118 million. It's okay. There's nobody's gonna judge you if you own it and you're promoting it tonight, Dustin. That's what we're here to talk about. What do you guys like? What trades should we all have on our radar? And if you want to pitch your stock, I'll even give you the forum to come do that. Rebleep says, what are your thoughts on INOD and SoFi? I am in a SoFi trading group. But I mean, you guys, literally, there are trading groups with nonstop DD on every ticker, and SoFi is no exception. I do like SoFi. Look at this. I exited the trade at the end of 2024 thinking I was a genius. I had a good trade, 650 up to 1025. It kept on going to 18 bucks, came back down. I was feeling okay. But for whatever reason, I wasn't paying attention on this dip, and I did not rebuy, and now it ran all the way up to 30 bucks. So yes, I do like SoFi. I'm not in the trade right now because it has just run way past where I don't like chasing things this far late in the game. But as I'm looking at the chart here, we broke through a supply zone, which is also bullish. So it could be far from over. I probably need to go spend a little more time and see if I need to dabble in a little SoFi again. You know, we all have those particular tickers where we sold them a little early. You don't see me crying over spilt milk on these. It's fine. If you held SoFi all the way through, if you held Palantir all the way through, congrats. Some of these tickers, they're just swing trades for me. I try to find a good entry, and then as I'm getting entry, I'm already defining where I'm going to take my exit. If it's a stock that I'm super in love with, maybe I don't sell the whole position. And maybe that is just a lesson that we learn over time too. If you're not sure if it's done running, take some money off the table and let some ride. There's nothing wrong with that either. The thing that I don't want to see you guys do is ride stuff all the way up and then ride it all the way back down. You got to know what is a good entry and what is what's the reason you're in the ticker. What is your long-term vision for them? Corey says, still waiting to get his shares. You're selling covered calls, Corey. 1950 is not bad, especially if you got in down here in the single digits. But yeah, I'm with you. He says he's waiting to get back in. Chris says, hey, Tony, you can shit all over this pick if you want to, no matter what you say. I don't think they are going away anytime soon. What are we talking about? WEN? Wendy's? You know, back in the day, Chris, I used to love going to Wendy's. I remember when Wendy's first came to our little town back in the mid 80s. And they had some really good burgers. And I still will go to Wendy's every now and then, but I think they have lost some of their quality from the glory days when they first started. But as far as the stock, I still enjoy their food. From time to time. I'm trying not to eat junk food, Chris. But Wendy's, 867 down from 1949 recently. And, you know, what? 2020 to 2025, it was mostly flat. And they've been just decimated here since 2025. I have not looked at the why on that, but we could look at the why. And that is not to shit on your trade, but just kind of let's see what happened. Why is this thing tanking? Because I'm not familiar with the news. Revenue looks okay. There's no major shift in revenue there. Operating income looks all right. Earnings per share still flat. Why is this thing tanking? Paying dividends. They cut the dividend substantially recently. That would not have started the decline. Margins are the same as they've always been. What's going on with Wendy's? They are running low on cash. That's one thing that jumps out at me. If $750 million back in 2023, we're at an all-time low now for the last 3-4 years of 281. But I don't know that that is relevant just yet. It's just something I'm noticing as I'm looking. Let's keep on and see what else we got here. Balance sheet is not upside down. Total assets, total liabilities. The balance sheet is barely in balance. Let's put it that way. Working capital is okay. Total debt, $4.1 billion. Total debt has remained pretty much flat. So there's not like some new major that loading the company up with debt that is jumping out at me. Cash flow. It's kind of bouncing all over the place here on operating cash flow, but that does not seem to be particularly unusual for them either. Fairly low CapEx. They've been repurchasing stock. I don't know. Chris, why is it taking? What is going on? Jim said maybe because of high beef prices, but I'm looking at, that could be, Jim, but I'm just looking down here at the profit margins and the operating margins, and they're not really any worse than in history going back several years. So why this year is Wendy's getting beat up? Who the heck keeps texting me? Hang on. Redhead needs some money sent to her. Hang on one second. Got to make sure Mama's got some money to eat. I guess she didn't pack her lunch for work tonight. All right, that's taken care of. Chris, are you still there, Chris? I don't know. I can't understand why, just in a 5-minute look here, why is Wendy's getting beat up? Let's see if there's any headlines. Fast food chains, hungry for sales. Here's a guy on Seeking Alpha that looks like he liked it 2 months ago. Wendy's and McDonald's report breakfast business slows. I have never in my life, I didn't even know Wendy's served breakfast, to be honest. Lower profit outlook. Did they give poor guidance? Did they management say, you know, calm your tits? We're gonna have a little slowdown. Wendy's says it realized it had too many promotions this summer, confusing customers. I mean, I would need to go read management comments and listen to a earnings call, but I'm just not seeing on these quarterly results that they had a massive drop in sales. So like what are they complaining about? I don't get it. Jim said some big franchisees went belly up. Well, that would be a problem, Jim. Yeah. Chris says, I think it's a valid play. Chris, you know, if I'm just going to say my 30-second sniff test didn't come up with anything super troubling. So is this really a play that is undergoing some temporary issues that maybe we could capitalize on? Maybe so. I think that this is one worth spending a little bit of time digging in. You know, we like these type of what I call value plays, where it's a well-known brand with consistent sales and consistent earnings, where maybe they're undergoing sometimes they fuck up politically, they say they do something, they go woke for a while till capitalism smacks them in the face and they're like, oh shit, we're losing sales, let's correct back. These can be very interesting plays if you don't think Wendy's is going bankrupt, where you go in and nibble at the bottom here and then you're just patient for a year, 2 years until they right the ship. I think this is definitely one worth spending a little bit of time on. Look at this dip right here. I mean, in 2020, if you would have bought in around $8 and then it jetted back up to $19 in a matter of months. All it takes is one good management quarter, good earnings, good management feedback. We're back on track, and boom, you're right back. Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. It's one worth considering just based on my very quick look, and let's do a little more digging on this one. A couple of other meme stocks. Let's just hit the big ones. Bed Bath & Beyond down 1.25% today. Their warrants did start trading today, and no, I'm sorry to report the bankrupt company shareholders did not get warrants sent to them. They were hoping all weekend that they would. Certain people told them that they would. You're going to get paid, guys. Don't worry. Marcus and Ryan are going to make sure you're made whole. I mean, guys, you got to learn to read court documents when they say these shares are canceled and there will be no recovery. That is it. Time to say to yourself, fucked up, lesson learned, won't make that mistake again. Have an exit plan if I'm trading a bankruptcy play. But the warrants for the new Bed Bath & Beyond are trading. They had an initial bump up to $2.44, and now they've settled into this range around $1.60. And they should be, I would imagine, trading close in price. Do they have options? No option. Oh, wait, no. Bed Bath & Beyond options. Let's look at, do they have October 26th? No, they don't. They don't. I was going to look at the October 26 options price, but it doesn't exist. Non-standard. We also, if you turn on non-standard, you'll be able to see the old options chain, which is now BBBY1. And the new options chain without the warrants does not have the BBBY1 after it. And much like GameStop, these BBBY1, last week's options chain, or before the ex-dividend date anyways, these will have lower liquidity and wider spreads in general than the now new standard options chain. So something to think about. It might not be an optimal hold if you're trying to hold something like this past the ex-dividend date. You might not get an optimal trade out of it compared to just moving the trade over to the standard options chain. There's no inherent benefit of getting a warrant delivery. And the reason, much like GameStop, the reason that they divide up the warrant, the options chains, is I know people are still confused by this. I heard some of the GameStop YouTubers getting confused by it in the past week too. When a dividend is issued, including warrant dividends, the price of the stock, GameStop, BBBY, on the ex-dividend date, the price of the stock is reduced by the value of the warrant. Now, in the case of these two tickers, might not be that noticeable because they're high volatility and the warrant dividend is divided by 10 shares. So if you have a $3 warrant, that's only a 30-cent reduction per share. And you know how the volatility is on these stocks. You could move 30 cents in a couple minutes. You guys might have never known that the price got reduced, but it reduced, it did. And that's why the options chain splits. This is a fundamental of dividends. There is no exception for GameStop and Bed Bath & Beyond. They definitely had their price adjusted down. But a lot of times in high volatility stocks, you may never even notice that. And those of you that are in cash dividend stocks or who have ever gotten a large special dividend, you know exactly what I'm talking about, how dividends reduce the price of the stock on the ex-div date. All right, Chris says Wendy's has earnings coming up on November 7th. That gives me a target, Chris. I'm going to put that on my list of things to dig into this week. Bed Bath & Beyond, so it was down 1.25%. They had this, let's just see, did they have the same little run up? I want to look maybe at like a 4-hour. From late September up until October 3rd. Yeah, the same run up that GameStop had. Excitement, maybe some shorts closing. They didn't want to fuck around with having to deal with warrants. And then as soon as the ex-div date passes, the stock comes back down. Now we have two examples of this, and I want y'all to remember this for next time. Because one day in the life of your trading career, there will be another meme stock or stock that issues a warrant dividend, and people are going to get all hyped up and saying it's going to the moon. And I want you to remember these two examples of how that hype plays out till the ex-dividend date, and then the thing just sells off. You got two fresh live examples right here. Now, what happens once they come back down really is dependent on the company and how they perform over the next 12 or 13 months and what news they might have to get people excited to drive the price up. But the warrants are not anything special. They're a call option for all intents and purposes. A call option with an expiration in 1 year with a $32 strike. In the case of GameStop, what is it on Bed Bath & Beyond, $15.50 that you got for free. You got a free call option. There's literally nothing special about them. The company would like the price to go up because they will be able to raise cash. So one would think, and I think this is a reasonable belief, it's okay to be positive about this. One would think that management would issue these warrants ahead of something that they have planned in the next year. One would think. Because the only way the company is going to raise money is if the price drives up. They're thinking one of two things. We've got some plans in the next year that will drive this price up, and we're going to be able to raise some money if people exercise. Or they could, and Bed Bath & Beyond, GameStop, they could just be issuing warrants saying, we're a meme stock, and there's a greater chance than not that this stock is going to get pushed for no good reason. And if it does, we'd like to raise some money in the most unobnoxious way possible. Not an ATM. People are sick of that. Not bonds. People are sick of that. Let's tell them we're giving them something. And we are. We're giving them something. And if it runs up, then it's a win-win for everybody. You guys remember that video I did a couple, 2-3 weeks ago? Win-win. These warrants could be a win-win for everybody. Now, if management knows that they have something planned, I'd prefer to see that. But maybe they're just counting on high volatility meme stockness and hoping to get lucky. I don't know. We'll find out in the next 12, 13 months. Either way is okay. Either way is okay. These warrants are not bad news. Nobody got hurt by the issuance of warrants. It will only be a benefit. Even if the stock never goes up and you decide to sell it close to the end just to lock in a couple extra dollars of profit for yourself. That was money that you didn't have. Dustin says, a while ago you had a Hycroft video talking about the trade. You mentioned you expected a cash raise. Yep, and that did happen. And then they did 2 more after that, Dustin. Or at least 1 more after that. I'll pull up the Hycroft chart and we'll look at it. Yeah, so Hycroft today announced the closing of their additional cash raise. You remember last week they announced they were going to do another cash raise of 100 million. Then they upsized it to a 150. We got the news today that the total cash raise was over $172 million. More than enough for them to pay off all of the debt on their balance sheet and still have over a year worth of operating cash. This is the most optimal position to be in that you can ever imagine. And you're wondering why Hycroft is at $8.15. Yes, this is dilutive, but look at the price of silver. Look at the price of gold. Look at what people believe where they are headed. And Hycroft is literally only months away from announcing their technical report with economics. That is what we're expecting. And from there, get back into mining. And perhaps all the people that have been naysayers and negative and bearish, saying that this company was definitely going bankrupt, will be proven wrong. For me, Hycroft has always just been a swing trade. And this is another one of those ones I famously got out of too early. I had a good trade on it. There's my 25% run in a few weeks. But man, I mean, imagine if I would have held from, instead of selling at $4, I could have been up another $4. But I don't cry over that. I celebrate for everybody who is still holding, because metals prices are making this a really promising play. And why do I say that? Not because I'm pumping Hycroft, not because I care what you do with your shares. I'm looking at the big money investors plunking $170 million down on a private placement. Do you think those people just casually throw around money? This was not an ATM that was finalized and published today. This is Eric Sprott and BlackRock and other big money people handing this company $170 million. I think there is every reason to be bullish about that. And I'm going to laugh my ass off if this stock ends up skyrocketing based on the technical report, because we have had to endure. I say we, I mean anybody who's ever in the last 3 years talked about the stock. I just cover it. I don't even care what you do with it. I only swing trade it. But we've had to endure 3 years of people saying this stock is going to go bankrupt. They told us in 2022 it's a 5 to 7 year exploration plan. Like, open your ears. Open your ears. Understand the timeline. Maybe your feelings won't be hurt. And you know, looks like maybe they're going to have news well ahead of 7 years. Do I think that there will be a lot of money required to finish out the mining operation based on their new plan, Dustin? Yes. Maybe upwards of $1 billion. But they are right sizing the balance sheet. Every opportunity is open to them. When you have a company where you can prove with economics that this is a viable and profitable mine, and you have no debt, and you have half of your facilities built, you got railroad tracks, you got electricity, you got water, you got roads, you got shops, trucks, mining equipment, leach pads. You need a little bit of new equipment to do the milling and all that. That could be a very easy sell the mine to a bigger player with deeper pockets. Or maybe it's just hey, this is a hell of a setup, and we're gonna take down some long-term bonds now because we got a viable project here and we got no debt. I mean, they're in the catbird seat if that study is good in the next 3 months. And I saw on Twitter today that there is supposed to be a Zoom meeting that all of you guys are invited to with Eric Sprott and Diane Garrett talking about Hycroft. So check Twitter for that. I don't know what time. I just saw it in passing that that is going to be happening tomorrow. But yeah, they did this cash raise, Dustin. They did this cash raise back in June, and I bought in after that. Like, I like to come in after the thing gets tanked because of a dilution. And, you know, I made a good profit, but my mistake, we all make mistakes, is I did not have enough optimism as some people about gold and silver doing what they have done, and that's okay. If you had the conviction, you deserve the rewards. I was just looking for a quick swing trade. I am very, very happy for all my fellow investors who are still riding this wave up. Greg, what is your question, amigo? He says, you're the only one that will give an honest answer. I do my best, Greg. It's not popular to be honest, but I do my best. People think you're either paid for by the company or you're paid for by hedge funds when you're just trying to read filings and analyze financials on a non-emotional basis. On any ticker, every ticker, I get the same, you're paid short, you're paid by the company. You talked about this stock even if you don't own it, therefore you're paid. No, I just like you guys to have non-biased info. And I do follow some of these tickers because I will trade them from time to time if I get a good entry. But how do you know what a good entry is if you're not following and talking about the stock? What is your question? He says, do you think there's any chance that AMC does the same thing Wolfspeed did? In-court especially if shareholders don't approve more shares in December and the company has no ability to raise cash. I'd say, if I was in management, I'd say, fuck it. The first bad quarter we have, I'd say, hey, bondholders, let's do a pre-agreed Chapter 11, expedited Chapter 11. AMC has what, 400 or 500 million? You have 1 or 2 bad quarters. If that were to happen, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying, you said, is there a chance? I'm giving you the scenario in which there could be a chance. If there were 2 quarters, maybe Q3 is one, where they burn significant cash before they're able to load cash from a good quarter, you're on the doorstep of Chapter 11. If AMC got anywhere near 150 million in cash, 100 million in cash, you better have a really good story about every quarter after that being cash flow positive, or the bondholders are going to be beating down the doors. So, am I predicting bankruptcy for AMC? I'm not predicting bankruptcy. I don't want you to get twisted what I'm saying. I'm trying to honestly answer your question. Is there a chance? Yes, but let's see what happens with the vote. I will never tell you guys how to vote. I'll give you my opinion if you want, if I think the vote is going to pass or not. I think we can lay some pretty good odds on that. And I'll give you my opinion of the outcomes of pass or fail. We can talk about that. But as far as your individual vote, hey, do your thing. Not my job to tell you how to vote. Everybody's got some deep seated beliefs and emotions about how they're planning to vote. Sparky says, yes, that's how bondholders get involved. Yeah, he's weighing in on the AMC thing. If AMC's cash gets drawn down low enough, if you can imagine any scenario where AMC's cash gets drawn down because of a bad quarter, and they have no ability to raise cash because shareholders said no, the easiest way out of that, no one here wants to do APE again, right? I don't think AMC would want to go through that again. The easiest way for them is just say, well, we don't have shareholder support. We've tried for years now to get them to approve more shares. They said no once again. We have no alternative, unfortunately, but to seek an in-court prepackaged Chapter 11. So, Greg, hopefully the vote passes. I think the vote will pass. I think the vote will pass because the alternative, in my viewpoint, is pretty dire for AMC. There's really no, I mean, to be fair, we've talked about this. It's not a win-win situation for investors. It's a lose-lose, right? You either vote to give them no cash, or you vote to potentially be diluted. Like, I get it. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place, which is why I stepped out of the trade. And if it's approved, and if they dilute, and if the price goes down, then I will come in for a speculative bet. But right now, I mean, it's anybody's guess what's going to happen. Yeah, and it did, gave Wolf Speed a clean slate, Greg, right? But it wiped out investors. And if AMC ever went that route, and God forbid, God hope, I pray to the gods that we never have to have that discussion. AMC would come out just fine. AMC's not going to go away. They're not going to close. They will just hand the company over to the debt holders, re-equitize it. Bondholders own the company. And all the debt gets wiped out. But common gets nothing. It's not going to go well if I pray we never have to have that day. Sparky says, for the upcoming vote, institutional shareholders will not vote no. And the converts that are left can vote in this also. Yeah, I think Sparky is on the same page as me that the vote will pass. I don't have a crystal ball. It could fail. I was randomly looking through Reddit today in the AMC stock page, and someone posted the proxy, and it had like 300 comments, and like 75% of them were like, I'm voting no, I'm voting no, I'm voting no, I'm voting no. Hell no. I'm voting no, and I'm selling. There's a lot of negativity, but I also can read some of these comments, and I know they were GameStop elitists just coming in to rub salt, because I can tell when these people come into the comments. And I don't really post on that page. I read it for sentiment from time to time. But I was surprised that the amount of negativity was that high. But a couple hundred people with a handful of shares are not going to sway the vote. When you got institutions at an all-time high holding AMC, they will sway the vote. They will sway the vote. My guess. Robert says, can we vote out AA? No. Common shareholders have no vote on the CEO. Now, he is on the board of directors, and I pointed this out last year, and I'm going to point it out again, not because I want you to vote a certain way. I just find this is irony, okay? This is irony. You know those people that want to vote out Adam Aaron? We call them the Popcorn Project gang. And they're entitled to their belief. That's fine if that's what they want. That they want him out, and they want the whole board out. But when the vote was proposed last year to give everybody the chance to vote the entire board out, all of the Popcorn Project gang told everybody to vote no to every proposal. So you had the opportunity to vote the entire board out, but you voted no on that proposal. Now that proposal, and why do I say that? Because if you really wanted him out, I think he's doing a fine job, but if you really wanted him out, you would want to replace the board, right? You'd want to throw all the bums out, to use their words. You can't throw all the bums out right now. You only get to vote on 3 per year. You're never going to get a majority, or it's going to take forever. But if you could vote them all out and get all new blood in there, that new board could elect a new CEO. It is ironic that these Popcorn Project people pushed a no vote on every item last year and shot themselves in the foot with the one goal that they wanted. They decapitated their own wish. I find it humorous, ironic, funny, comedic, if you will. And I just mentioned it again because that proposal, I think it's back on the ballot again this year. I'm curious what instructions they're going to give their followers this year. Clay, how you doing, Clay? But yeah, I see, Robert, a lot of people asking, can shareholders vote out the CEO? Cannot. You can only vote on the board, and the board elects the CEO. What do you call that? What do you call that when the board is in groups? What's the word is escaping my memory here this evening. Oh, yeah. You have a proposal to declassify the board. And if the board is declassified, then you have another proposal to elect the following nominees with their terms expiring at the 2026 meeting. So everybody, you'll be voting them in until the next meeting. And that's why they said, no, don't vote for this last year. Don't vote for this. You're voting for them all to stay in another year. They were already going to be in for another year, dummies. Yes, if you approve this, the board will be declassified. They will all be elected for 1 year, but then in 2026, you have the ability to vote all of them out. If you don't vote yes on this 1 and 2A, then you will vote on 3 board members, and the board will stay classified, which means 3 members come up every year on a rotating, they're on a 3-year term, basically. I don't regularly check in on the Popcorn Project gang, but I'm curious what voting instructions they're giving their troops. For me, I don't care how y'all vote. I did buy some shares on Friday, just so I have the privilege of voting. Don't get all excited. I didn't flip my analysis of AMC to being a risk-free entry at 287. I'm not saying that. I bought some shares for the only purpose of having the privilege to say I voted. And we'll see what happens. AMC down almost 3% today, 287. I did put out a video this weekend going over what I'm looking at as far as why AMC is asking for more shares. Hopefully you guys watched that one. There's a lot of things to think about with proposal number 5, and I did not spend the video talking to you about these bullet points that AMC has here, blah, 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 blah. We've already talked about that since July, if you've been following my channel. I know a lot of people had to play catch up and make videos saying, here's what's going to happen. You guys already knew that if you followed my channel. We already talked about this stuff many times, and in the Discord too. None of these are a surprise to you. But really, the meat of what we want to understand is, why are they asking for 550 million shares? And I did this weekend break that very quickly down for you guys, looking at the balance sheet and the cash flow statement, so you can understand where AMC is coming from, and then you do whatever you want. I don't care. Why am I being so repetitive saying that? Because it doesn't matter how many times I say it. There's going to be some dipshit conspiracy theorist. Tony's telling you how to vote. No, I'm not. But you're implying these guys, man. I just can't. I can't with these guys. It's funny. But I'm trying to make sure I let you know. Follow your own heart. Do your own DD. But make sure you know what you're voting on too. I would wager 90% of people giving advice have never looked at a financial statement. Certainly couldn't explain it to you. Jersey Man said, were you close to getting stopped out when GameStop hit 23 today? I don't have a stop loss on GameStop. I'm not sure what you're talking about. My cost basis is well below the current price. The only thing I'm thinking, Jersey Man, is if it hits between 19 and 21.50, that I'm going to be adding more. I don't have a stop. I'd need some horrible news from management, and even then, I don't typically put stop losses on plays unless it's a trailing stop loss on a stock I am just trading for momentum, a day trade. I like to babysit my trades, and if you have been following this channel at all, I like to buy in these green zones. Hopefully it doesn't go down below that, because then we're going to have to figure out where the next bottom is. But I'm not expecting it to go below that. I've been buying at 21 and selling in the 30s for my last few trades. So no, I did not get stopped out. No stop loss. Jersey says, have you traded any of the minor stocks? No, I have not. I'm not in any metal trades. Rebleep says, did you enjoy the Texas OU game this weekend? We had a lot of stuff going on that I will tell you about one day here soon. Rebleep this weekend, but I did not. I didn't watch the game. Longhorns defeat 23-6. Well, now I'm going to have to go find a replay. I wonder if my kid went up to Dallas to watch that game. You know, I have two sons who went to UT. One he's in his last year now, getting his master's degree. And I went to UT as well, but no, I was not paying attention to football this weekend. We had some other stuff going on. Greg says, I've been buying GME warrants every day. I did buy some additional warrants, Greg, in after hours on Friday. But if you recall, when GameStop was crashing on Friday in the after hours with the Trump China dip, the warrants didn't really go down as much. I don't know if that's just because less volume of trading, but I was let me see if I can buy some on this broker. Let me see if I can buy them in extended hours. Yeah, I was able to buy them on multiple brokers. I was able to buy them in extended hours. And you know, I'm not advocating you guys load up on warrants. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to have a handful of them, just because it's more fun to stay active in a trade and see what happens if I got a little money on the line. And I don't typically think about buying GameStop warrants options a year out. But these are a fraction of the cost. You're getting the same value for 1/100th of the price. Instead of having to spend $302 for a contract, I can spend $3, you know, and buy however many I want at that $3 price. Instead of having to plunk down $300 per contract with an uncertain outcome. And I might pick up more. I might pick up more if the price goes down. My belief is still that at some point in the next 13 months, GameStop has something planned. Although we have to take them at their word right now. You guys saw the disclosure in the filings recently. They have no acquisitions, mergers, investments, nothing that they are actively working on, according to the disclosure in the documents. And we got to take them at their word. But that doesn't mean that they're not looking. That doesn't mean that they're not talking to people. There's just nothing material that has developed yet. There's no surprise they're about to spring on us. But they could be talking to people. They could be actively looking for the right investment. Rebleep says, what factors do you use for demand and supply zone on GameStop? I mean, I don't know where I have a book that I've recommended to you guys before on supply and demand zone trading if you really want to get into the nitty gritty of it. But I mean, you don't need to read a book on it to get the basics. What you're looking for is areas of support. You know, you see these people going back to 2021 and trying to draw lines. Oh, look, here's our support line. They do this nonsense. This is utter horseshit right here. It makes me laugh my ass off every time I see someone doing this. There is no support line that you tie back to 2020 because it's not the same company. Not even close. The only thing that tells you what's going on at GameStop is the recent price action related to recent corporate actions and recent results. It's completely different company than here. I don't want to see none of y'all drawing lines back to 2020. I'm going to laugh my ass off at you. All these people doing the Dorito nonsense. It's fucking hilarious. I don't know if they realize how stupid they look. Sorry if that offends, but my opinion. All you got to do is go back and look in the last year after the corporate actions that they've been doing and the quarterly results they've been posting. What is the market telling you are the areas of support, and where is either the market or the company selling shares? Where the support is from the market, you got boom, 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 multiple points here where you can see that there is actively demand to buy the stock if it hits that low. You got over a year, boom, 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 boom. That's your demand zone. If it ever falls through that, if the news was so bad or the market crashed and it falls below that, you don't know where the next support zone is. You got to use some TA to figure that out, right? I have another one drawn down here. I'm not predicting GameStop's going to fall to $9 unless, you know, if we had a 25-30% market correction, anything is possible with GameStop. You could see $15, $16, but I'm not predicting a market correction that severe. But if it happened, yeah, we might bust this demand zone. We might bust it to the downside. So hopefully in my world, hopefully there is no market crash. Makes me scratch my head too. The GameStop people want the market to crash and somehow think they're going to be insulated. Not going to work that way. Supply zones are just what you would think of as your area of resistance. And, you know, there are different ways you can draw supply and demand zones. I'll tell you the way that I generally do it. There are different ways that would make these zones tighter or wider. And that is just your judgment. But what I try and do is typically, and I've moved these a few times so they've gotten a little bit off, but if we're looking at a daily or weekly chart, I put the top of the zone at the top of the wick. Then I want the bottom of the zone either at the top of this candle or the top of the next candle. And how do I decide? I will typically go look not on a weekly, but something like on a daily and see how long did the support last up there. So if I have it drawn here, we had 1, 2, basically 3 days. So I'm okay. I'm okay drawing it at the top of this candle. What I'm trying to do is, like, if I'm thinking about an exit point, do I need to have a hair trigger where I got to get out the second it touches that? Or could the stock hang out there comfortably for a few days? That helps me define how wide I need to make this zone, how tall the zone needs to be. And there's no wrong answer. And I just use these as kind of like I said, if you have tuned in, doesn't definitively mean that I will sell when it hits that. It means I will certainly be spending all of my time figuring out, why is it going up? Why is it there? Could it go higher? Looking at the chart on much shorter time frames, 5-minute, 10-minute, hourly, daily. What's the momentum? What's the volume? What's the catalyst? And asking all of those hard questions. Is this something that can keep running? Or is it a a flash in the pan retail FOMO momentum and go ahead and take an exit and hope it comes back down. Greg says he's very happy with GameStop offering the warrants. I think it was a fine distribution, Greg. Yep. Rebleep says I look at the options chain for supply zones. I'm not that smart, Rebleep. I know. I'm guessing what you're saying is you're looking at the open interest of where are people loading up. But like with GameStop, there's so many degenerate gamblers piling in to out of the money options that I don't know that I can make any meaningful analysis other than we got a lot of degenerate gamblers hoping for a squeeze. So for GameStop anyways, I don't make trading decisions based on that. If I was buying options, I would definitely look at open interest and IV. All right, what else we got to talk about tonight before we wrap up? Open Door. We touched briefly on that one, pushing down from $11 to $7.27. I follow a few people pumping this stock, and they are convinced it is coming back. And the bears saying, no, it's not. You just have a real estate company. And it got pushed up for no reason. I don't know. But it is interesting one to watch. It is having a little bit of problems right now. Past few days. Plug and Power. We talked about that one last week. It's had a good run. I need to dig into that one. I'm going to add Plug and Wendy's to my list this week. And the Qs. I want you guys to look at these Qs and see what you think for trades this week. We got QS up 15.5% today. QSI up 24%. And QUBT. I have done no due diligence on these, so I'm not recommending them to you. I'm throwing them out there to say, put these on your radar because they are momentum stocks here on Monday. And finally, RGTI. That's for you swing traders. Free swing traders. I'm not saying buy and hold these stocks. RGTI up 25% today as well. All right, ladies and gents, I'm going to close up so I can get some dinner in and get a decent amount of sleep before another exciting day tomorrow. And if you're watching on replay and you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment, drop a question for me down below. Chris says, Tony, you need to check out the amount of $9 puts on Wendy's that expire Friday. All right, let's close up with that, Chris. Options. $9 puts. Let's look at both here. $35,700. These things at the beginning of October are trading at 9 cents. They ran up to 50 cents, and looks like they're starting to have some theta decay now. Do you think, Chris, that the market is going to try and have Wendy's close right above 9 so that those people don't stay in the money? I lost my chart widget. All right. Chris says he thinks they're trying to keep it below 9 so they get paid. That could be. Could be. You never know who's in charge till Friday, right? All right, ladies and gents, thank you for your time tonight. We will see you mañana. And if there's anything interesting popping off during market hours, I'm always here. Maybe we'll do a live stream during the day. Have a good night. We will see ya on the next one.
By the dip, got a hold our ground. We've been waiting for so long. Edges rain will soon be gone. A green candle up, a red candle down. By the dip,